Relations in the Bible.
Race relations in the Bible.
And
And the Bible.
Okay, race relations and the Bible. Bro, you got it. I got it. Tell me, you remember to talk up.
all right. What's going on, everybody? We are live here. This is the United Congregation. I'm here with my awesome guest, Lady Jennifer, the leader, our fearless leader, I swear, Muhammad. We are here and we are talking about race relations and the Bible. It's going to be good. So just say hello to the people today.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jennifer.
All right.
Hello, people.
And who are you?
You said just say hello to the people. I am Aswad Muhammad, the fierce leader. Hello, everybody.
Wow. That was loud, really.
Okay.
What
Wow.
he said.
Okay. That's what we're doing, huh? Okay. So welcome, everybody. So what we're talking about today is race relations in the Bible. We know we live in a time now where it seems like race is in the middle of everything. Politics, faith, schools, everything. It seems like everything is about race relations. So we're going to talk about a few topics today. I'm going to go topic by topic. We could talk about it. We could say how we feel about it, what we feel the Bible says about it. We're just going to talk with the people, let the people talk back to us. All right. So the first topic we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think that's what the E stand for, equity. Are y'all aware of what DEI is?
No.
DEI is kind of a form of like affirmative action where and DEI is huge in the workplace now where companies are purposefully hiring women or people of color to equal out demographics. So it kind of doesn't matter their qualifications in a way. It does, but it doesn't. DEI is where they're trying to make jobs or areas where they felt they were historically unequal, equal. So how do y'all feel about DEI?
I mean, how do you know? How did you get the research on that? Because how do you know that it's going on?
No,
my
that's
question.
like
That's all over.
that's everywhere. DEI is it's a real thing.
Right.
And so, for example, there are a lot of companies that are in their leadership. They're hiring. They're not hiring certain people and hiring certain people to have certain quotas of people or demographics of people there. So this is a real initiative, and they say it. They say this. She's a DEI hire. He's a DEI hire. They say that because it's like, and they're like, hey, we hired this black person. It's a DEI hire. The whole other board is all white people. We hired him. And so my issue with it is there may have been someone who's not a quote unquote person of color who was qualified for the job, but somebody who wasn't as qualified got the job because of the color of their skin or because of their gender. And I feel like if we fought for years to not be treated by the color of our skin, or women fought to be equal to men, to me, in a way, that's a step backwards, because it's like now you're being hired because of the color of your skin.
Well, it depends on how you look at that, because on a large scale, companies do that to get more supporters, to get more funding. If I got a certain number of Latinos, a certain number of blacks, a certain number of whites, I should get funding from, almost the majority of funders, out there. However, on a smaller scale, for instance, with me, when I first started with the company I'm with now, I was the only black guy there. And there was an issue that rose up between me and a coworker behind racial slurs he was making.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I addressed it, and it got big. And I was going to let it go. And HR called me back, and HR said, look, man, this may be an opportunity for us as a company to make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
We sorry you got to be the fall guy, but he got to go because we want to make a statement that we're not that kind of company.
Yeah.
But since hiring me from that one incident as the first black guy, it's like 5 black guys there now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like I open up the door for them to come through there. And now the company can say, hey, we're not racially biased. We got rid of a white guy, and now we got 5 or 6 black guys working here. So that goes, it's 2 or 3 different ways you can look at that, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good thing because, like I said, it gives some of us who don't have opportunities with big companies or, racially unbalanced company, it gives us an opportunity. But on a large scale, a lot of them do that, like I said, just to play us. They can care less about us, but they know that on the big scales, where investors and funders are looking at their racial balance, they think, hey, let's get funded from as many people as we can, black, white, Latino, whatever. That's my feeling.
Okay.
And I agree with what he was saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
About it has a good parts and the bad parts, because the good thing is when you have someone fresh out of high school trying to go into a company that they want, and because of the color, they might not have the qualifications or the skills, but they go apply for a job, and they might get it because of the color of skin, because of the color of their skin. So I don't feel like good and bad. Now that situation is good because at once upon a time it used to be getting a job. It's all about who you know at that company. I don't think it's like that anymore. So yeah, I agree with what Mr. Muhammad was saying.
Thank you, Mrs. Muhammad. So let me throw out a scenario, a real life scenario, and we'll talk about that. So in the NFL, in sports, they have this thing called the Rooney Rule, where a minority candidate has to be interviewed for a head coaching position. So that's mandatory. Okay. Now we know that in life there are a ton of unwritten rules, right? We know life is full of unwritten rules or unspoken truths, things of that nature. So it's kind of understood that if there are not a lot of black head coaches in the NFL, that if it's an off season where there's a bunch of openings, hey, some of those hirings better be black. It's kind of understood. Right. The Houston Texans even dealt with that. They wanted to hire Josh McCown, but because Rooney Rule and different things, they ended up hiring David Culley. And then the next year they promoted Lovie Smith, and now they got DeMeco Ryans. Now DeMeco Ryans has worked out. I get that. So this is my thing. How do you feel about this? If a player on a team, let's say, was white, and their new head coach was black, but it was known that the only reason why this black head coach got the job is because he was black and there was a quota to fill. What if that white player says, I won't respect that head coach because they weren't the best person for the job. Their scheme may not be the best fit for the players on the team. How would y'all feel about that if the white player said, hey, you know, he was only hired because he was black. He doesn't really fit our scheme. It's not a good player coach fit. I don't like it. I don't respect him. How would y'all feel? What would y'all say to that?
So, in that scenario, it would be up to the black coach to let it know that not only was he hired, you know, because of the color of his skin, but he was also hired because he's the man for the job. He has the qualifications, whether you want to respect it or not. And at that point, he would have to give that guy an ultimatum. You're going to have to step up to the plate and respect me in my position, or you can hit the road. Prime example. So my stepbrother, just last week, he's what's Little Milton? College. He's a college football coach, and something similar. So the head coaches over him are white, and so he wants Caucasian.
What white?
White.
Is
Yeah. yeah, fair skin.
Oh,
Fair
yeah.
skin.
fair skin.
Yeah, so you know, for them, they just want a job. So the teams are losing and just that and other. So he's on the players. He wants to win. You know, he took the job because he wanted a winning team. So he had an issue with one of the coaches, head coach, who told him he's being too hard on the players. So he told me, hey, I'm gonna need you to off my field right now. You know, so he called me. He's like, man, you think I went overboard? I said, no, because if he hired you for that position, then you do your job. If you don't like it, let him find somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, so in that position, I think it would be time for the black coach, you know, to even make a decision. Are you just gonna be a token Negro, or are you gonna represent what you got hired for? You know, that's about to be on, man.
Okay. So you're saying that now I said that the black coach, his scheme isn't a fit for the type of players they have on there. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the scheme that coach run doesn't fit the team, and it's understood that he was hired because hey, we need to hire one more black coach.
Yeah.
So you still would feel the same way.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
on this team on the team you're talking about, there's a lot of Caucasian players.
No, I'm just saying. So say the player that's playing is the quarterback, which is like the most important position probably in all the sports. So if the quarterback's not on board with the coach, you know that the skill set of the quarterback doesn't match the type of quarterback that black coach would need to run his scheme. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the white player is not happy with that black coach being hired. You know, what would you say to that?
I mean, I don't know anything about football, but I think I would probably tell him. I think I'll probably tell him, you know, like my husband just said, you know, he need to get off the field and we can find somebody else because he's replaceable as well. He can be replaced.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay, Beyonce, irreplaceable.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, man. You know, since we are talking about and the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
you know, us as believers, you know, we got to be able to walk in our boldness, you know,
Yeah.
in every situation that we find ourselves in. Now, even if the coach wasn't a believer or is a believer, the point still remains that you put me in a position as a coach.
Mhm.
So you know your position, play your position, you know. So if you're a player of mine, hey, once again, you're gonna play by these rules, you know, you're gonna follow this rule book, or you're gonna be off the team. Prime example, back in the early 90s, I think it was like 93, 92, when Jimmy Johnson, when Jimmy Jones took over the Cowboys.
I remember this.
He cleaned house.
Yeah.
Got rid of Tom Landry, cleaned house. Everybody. They went to 3 Super Bowls. And everybody was talking about
Wait, Tom Landry.
Tom Landry was the coach when he took over the Cowboys. Who was the Cowboys the coach?
When Jimmy Johnson took over?
I'm sorry, it wasn't Tom Landry. It was
I was about to say
Wait,
Tom
wait,
Landry
wait,
might not
wait,
even
wait.
been alive.
No, it wasn't Landry. It was no, it wasn't, because he
You
got
would have been
Jimmy.
hung if you
That's
got rid of
okay.
Tom
That's too
Landry.
long.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
too long.
they
Too
were too
long.
I forgot.
That's too
But
long.
he cleaned house.
Yeah.
He got rid of all of them. From the head coach to the, I'm talking about administration, everything. They went to 3 Super Bowls. 3. But
Yeah.
nobody coming in after him has had the guts to stand up against him. Head coach or not.
Against Jerry
Only
Jones.
one was Jimmy
Yeah.
Johnson. When he would let Jimmy Johnson run that team the way he wanted to run it, he went to Miami. You know, so it's the same thing, man. You know,
So basically what you're saying is walking in as a person, walk in your authority,
Walk in your
whether
authority.
you're a believer or not, walk in your
Walk in
authority.
yeah.
That's just that.
Yeah.
Clean house if you have to.
It has to be have to.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy Johnson wasn't scared of Jerry Jones after
No.
dealing with Michael Irvin and all them Charles Haley. He wasn't scared of nobody. He was like, shoot, try me if you want to. But
And you know what? And going back to saying that, because mostly that the players are African American, if you want to say that.
mhm.
They should be the ones, like after they play football and things like that, try to go after those positions instead of trying to,
Mhm.
spend their money on other things. That's what they need to have in their mindset. After football, let me go after that type of position. That's my take on it.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all thoughts on that. But let me throw a curveball in there, right? So let's say same situation.
Okay.
A black head coach was hired. Is basically clear he was hired because he was black and need to fit that quota. And the quarterback wasn't happy with the coach, didn't want to respect him, but the quarterback was a black quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Does that change
Mm-mm.
your opinion on
Mm-mm.
anything?
No,
Why not?
same scenario. Why should it change just because he's black? No, same scenario. He can be replaced. Go find somebody else. So no, my mind is set. No, doesn't change.
Okay.
And right quick, just for the audience, the audience, so I'm not up here just bumping.
Oh, you had to Google it. Oh,
And-
you fired up
and-
the Google
and-
machine.
and I was correct. It was Tom Landry that he got rid of. I know a little something about sports too. It was Tom Landry. Right after he took over, he cleaned the house.
You said Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, you're right. I thought you said Jerry Jones.
No.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy
Okay.
Johnson was the head coach who replaced
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
But I'm saying when Jones took over the coach,
Yeah, he got.
he got to clean the house.
Yeah. No. I thought you said Jerry Jones did it.
So now, back to the question at hand.
Mm-hmm.
It was a black player, and it was a white coach. Same thing applies, man.
Yeah.
Because I would think this here, for me, football is tedious, and you got to love the game and want to coach the game. That's the way I see it. So I mean, if your heart ain't in it, you shouldn't even be in that lane. So black coach, white player, black player. If the attitude ain't to win and do the best for the team, because it's a team thing.
Yeah.
Ain't no one player win the team. But I'm not gonna let you bring this team down either. So either way it go, man, you have to stand up.
Okay. All right. So that's sports. Let's bring it down to more, because I ain't no athlete, I ain't no multi-millionaire like them and everything.
You know
You know what I'm
sports.
saying?
You're supposed to cast.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's say you work at a job, right? Let's say you work at no, I'm gonna go there. Not McDonald's, but let's say
Can't say that.
let's say you work in a warehouse, right? And your longtime boss retires, and they hire, and you've been hearing, hey, we need to hire more women, or we need to hire more people of color, or we need to hire whatever. And there's a person there that's been there a long time that would be a good manager, yet they don't hire them. They hire somebody else that is incompetent. No, they don't know the job, but because they have a quota to fill to put a person of color or another minority in that position, would you respect that boss or that supervisor?
Go ahead.
I will still.
Let me say this. Not that you would just outright disrespect, you know what I'm saying? But would you in your mind and your heart say, I really respect them as manager, even though they were put there to put a quota and they're incompetent for the job?
No, as a believer, I would respect them, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna put it like this: I will respect them. I will do what I'm paid to do, and that is far it
There we go. Yeah.
That's it. However, I mean, I wouldn't look at it like, oh, they was there because, because as a believer, we are there to do our work unto the Lord. So we're not there to, please people. You know what I'm saying? So we got to respect it. Like the word of God says, we are there to do our work unto the Lord. So if you keep that mindset there, I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would respect them because at the end of the day, I would understand that I don't work, specifically for them. I may work under them.
Mhm.
And but that's it. I wouldn't go out of my way to do that extra stuff, like
Right.
overtime and make sure everything is fine. I wouldn't do that. I just give them the bare minimum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But in your heart, in
In my
your
heart.
mind, you don't.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Once again, and y'all forgive me because I got a lot of stories. But so there was a guy.
You at that age.
Yeah, imagine that.
Tell a story.
Come on, boy.
Let me tell you about
Let me tell you about my story. Yeah.
No, but look, so same company I was telling you about that I was started off with the only black guy. So our supervisor was getting promoted to sales. So there's a Hispanic guy who had been there 12 years who taught me everything I know. He's an electrician, but he knows the whole shop.
Yeah.
And so they're going to bring a guy over from a gun store. Listen to this, a gun store to run a warehouse who doesn't know anything about metal. So I tell the supervisor, I say, I can't call his name. I say, hey man, I said, why don't you just promote, Eric to the position as lead, give him a few more dollars and let him run your shop. Oh no, that's not the way this company wants. They want to bring this guy over. He's supposed to be this big shot manager. Cool. Long story short, he comes over there. He got his chest poked out. He's bucking orders. He'll send a guy home if he's 1 minute. Send a guy home. He's 1 minute late for work. Send him home. So he comes out there, and so the guy that he was replacing tells us, he said, you guys train him for 2 weeks. So he want us to train him to be over us, to make more money than us. Cool, no problem. So he comes out there and he's, going around all husky and things. So I say, hey man, can you put this drill bit here, this 1.5 drill bit here? I said, we need to drill these holes out right here. So I'm doing what I'm doing. 5 minutes later, I look up, I say, you got that drill ready for me? He don't know how to put a bit. What? In a drill. So I said, well, you need that 1-inch bit over there. So I do Eric like this. He went and got yeah, I told you about that, right? No. So I told him, I said, you need a half-inch bit. He went and got a 1-inch bit, about that big, not a half-inch bit.
Yeah.
So Eric says it's going to be a long day.
It's gonna be.
But long story short, all we had to do is get out of his way because 2 weeks later, they got rid of him. Yeah, because they saw he wasn't the man for the job.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, you can put a man in a position for the wrong reasons, but if he's not equipped for that job, he ain't gonna last anyway. So you ain't got to lose your job because he don't know he is. But it takes a lot of integrity, man, to bite your tongue and because we was going through it. We going through it.
But what was you about to say?
No, I'm just saying, you're not supposed to drop names. I hope Eric
That's a
was
fake
fiction.
name.
Okay.
I just
Eric.
gonna drop his name.
I see you, Eric. I'm
Eric,
joking.
AKA.
So the joke about DEI is it stands for didn't earn it.
Mm.
That's the joke
I
behind.
like that.
No, I mean DEI is
No, I
real,
like that,
and
though.
but
that's real.
and it's usually, unfortunately, is politicized. Is the left liberals usually love DEI, and the right conservatives, Republicans normally don't like DEI. They don't want to say didn't earn it. So and to bring it home, so we could go into another topic. Companies like airline companies, NASA with astronauts, there are these type of companies who are operating in DEI ways.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have pilots who are not as qualified as other pilots, but they're hired because they're a person of color or because they're a woman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're gonna get more funding from groups that support them.
And so now I'm having to pray harder to get on the plane.
No, for real.
Because I don't know who flying it.
For real. For real.
But I know one thing, as you brought it to the Bible, Egypt wasn't originally as wicked as it was.
Mm.
It was usurped. The Bible says the Assyrian in Egypt oppressed his children. It wasn't a native-born Egyptian that was on the throne when the Pharaoh of the Exodus and everything. And so he didn't earn it. He took that
Mhm.
and see what it turned out to be.
Mhm.
Now I'm not trying to say that certain people haven't been, the path hasn't been harder, or they haven't. I understand that happens. You know, that their resumes and applications don't always make it to where they need to go. But we talking about race in the Bible. You know, so is race always the issue when it comes to DEI? You see what I'm saying? Because you know, if someone's incompetent, they're incompetent.
Right.
I don't care what race you are. And if somebody's qualified, they're qualified. You know, if I had a business and I ran a business, I'm about hiring the best person for the job.
Mhm.
I don't care anything about DEI. I'm not a DEI person because I care about my company being efficient, being profitable. And the only way you can do that is if you have the right people in the right positions.
Mhm.
But if you're not hiring the right people for the meet quotas, your company could go under.
Right.
You know. And so before we get off of DEI, any other final thoughts on DEI?
Well, I just want to say this. So, like you were saying, about being competent and incompetent, you know, you're going to hire somebody because of their work ethics and their competency on the job, okay, or with your job. However, if I'm a multi-million-dollar company, and I'm saying this because this is what's pretty much happening today. If I'm a multi-million-dollar company, say like in an area right here, what is this, Fort Worth, Houston? Where we at right now? Fort Worth?
Something like that.
Something like that.
East downtown.
East downtown. Okay, and it's a predominantly black community. And you're asking me for a business loan. You know, I want to see where my money going. So what I want to do, and if I'm a black funder or black investor, I want to see what your racial quality is as far as hiring people that look like me before I give you my money. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of companies are hiring because of that. Hey, next year tax write-off, if I don't meet my quota, if I don't make the money I want to make, then I'm gonna hire minorities or what have you to balance this thing out so that my, you know, portfolio looks better when I go to try to apply for a loan, a grant, a funding. Yeah. Is it fair? No, but it's politics, money-wise.
I got you.
Mhm.
Anything else? Okay, so DEI. I'm surprised y'all never heard of that, but this
Yeah.
that did not stop it,
I
bro.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah. See it though, but
Mhm.
being in it.
Now, and I said I was done, but I gotta say this because I seen someone put a tweet up or something during the Olympics. It said, you see our Olympics team is made up of people from everywhere. See, that's DEI.
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, those people had to go through qualifiers. Those people had to race for 4 years, qualifiers and all that. That's not DEI. They earned it because they had to win consistently up until the Olympics.
Right.
You know, I don't know what went wrong with the breakdancing, but I'm just saying, like, you know.
What about the one lady that lost her? What about the one gymnast that lost her?
Oh, I know what
so
you're
I
talking.
think that can be considered that though.
Well, I don't know. You talk about Jordan Child.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't look into that situation. I don't know why they stripped her. I don't know, so I can't speak on that. I don't know if y'all are aware of what happened. I know they took it from her. I don't know why, but so I can't speak on it. Unfortunately, maybe next time I'll be able to speak on it. All right. So the next topic we're going to talk about is assimilation, meaning if a group of people move to another country or another area, are they required to assimilate? Like if people move here from China, should they have to learn English? You know, are they allowed to keep their customs, or if their customs overlap American customs or laws, should they, you know, should they have to you know? So assimilation, y'all know what assimilation is. So how do y'all feel about assimilation? Whoever wants to go first.
I truly believe if they're going to come over here to America, yes, we have to learn our language. I'm sorry, because it doesn't make sense that you're going into a fast food place or going anywhere and your server can't speak. They can't understand you. You know how many times I get calls a day and they ask me, if I speak Spanish. And I'm like, no. And then we holding on to the phone. I'm like, okay, well, what we gonna do?
You do what
here?
we gonna do here?
Because you can't understand me and I can't
Mhm.
understand you. So no, they have to speak the language. Just like if we
Okay.
go over there to their wherever they're from, we have to learn their customs. We have to learn their language. You know, I think it's a respectable thing. It's a respect. That's what I believe.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
My brother.
Yeah, I agree with Lady Jennifer on that. You know, if you know you're going into new territory, you're going into another country, another land that's not yours,
Yeah.
then you should want to be able to assimilate a little bit. You know, without giving up, without giving away your customs and your personal beliefs and things. You still have to obey the law of the land.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I say that because, like, for Muslims, and I brought this question up years ago to a Muslim guy, and he had came over here from I think Sudan. He had 4 wives. So I said, you know, America don't allow polygamy. He said, well, I married them in my country. So and he was right,
Mhm.
you know. And the other day, on another note,
I married them.
he married them in his country.
But he
So-
couldn't bring them over here. He
He
could
brought 'em
only
over
bring
here.
them one.
Now, he brought him over here.
They only recognize one
Oh,
though.
They
Yeah.
only
recognize
recognized one. Yeah. Maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, I went to a Circle K, and I finna buy something. The dude did me like this. He stopped right there. He's a Muslim guy, and he started doing his prayer. Now, would I have been right to jump over the counter and choke? Man, this is America. You need to serve me. No, you know what I mean. So obviously, he worked that out with his employer. And he may have didn't. But I'm just saying, you know we live in a country, you know, where everybody wants to come and just that and the other. So us as believers, like Lady Jennifer was saying earlier, you know, we got to use discretion.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, they should assimilate a little bit, but by the same token, if they don't, we got to find a way to, you know, make it happen. If that answers your question.
Okay.
So what about you?
So-
what's your intake on it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, or watch one.
Yeah.
so my thing is this, what people do in their home is, you know, private. You know, what you do in public and may affect others
Yes.
should be subjected to that country's
Mhm.
laws,
Laws, yeah.
customs, you know. So that's why you kind of touched on what I wanted to ask. So if you own the business and you hire someone who's the best person for the job, but they was
Mhm.
Muslim, they say, hey, I have to stop in the middle of work and pray 12 or however many times a day. Do you feel obligated to allow them to do that? And not only that, should the government be involved in enforcing you allowing them to do that or not do that?
I think the government needs to stay out of religion.
Mhm.
I really do believe that. That's
But at this point, we're not talking about religion. We're talking about workplace.
Yeah.
okay. Well, in workplace as well, but I think the government. Well, for that, if I had my own business or any company, I mean, what's wrong with that person praying? What's wrong with them doing that?
No, but as an employer, like you said, you may be in front of a customer. Them praying 12 times a day, and I'm not trying to harp on Muslim. I'm just giving an example. It may hurt productivity. It may hurt your bottom line. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or it could offend other people of different faiths. You see what I'm saying? Somebody may be from a country where Muslims run it and their family were, you know, killed or slaughtered, and it may offend them. You see what I'm saying? How do you feel about that? Do you think you should be able to say, hey, if you're gonna work here, you can't pray 12 times a day without the government, without, you know, you getting in trouble or without, you know what I'm saying? How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's okay to me. I'm just that. I mean, he's praying. What prayer is going to do? I mean, who is it going to hurt?
What if it hurts your bottom line? By bottom line, how
Okay,
much money you make?
Okay, my thing is, okay, we'll make an agreement. Okay, if you want to pray, just make sure it doesn't affect our productivity. Make sure it doesn't affect what the job, what you have to do. That's the way I look at that. That's it.
But what if it does affect the job?
And then we're gonna have to talk about it. Then we're gonna have to talk about it.
Okay, and what is that conversation
But
gonna
you
be
know
like?
what though? I'm learning there's no what if. Can't do it what if. So it is this or that, and that's it. So,
Well, these situations have come up in the past. There are court cases, all kinds of situations where this has
yeah, I know.
come up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, we got people suing bakers because they want to force them to make cakes for them for whatever they believe in. So it definitely happens.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
So as an employer, if I hired a guy and he told me, hey man, there's certain times of the day I have to pray. By me being a praying man myself, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I would explain to him, as long as it doesn't interfere with your business.
Right.
Now, use your common courtesy, man. Your discretion. If you got a line full of people, whatever, then your prayer gonna have to wait. I don't need my dollars walking out the door and all that other stuff. I don't need my productivity stacked up on each other. Only reason why I didn't say nothing to the guy because I was the only one in the store. There wasn't nobody in front of me, so I just walked out like, man, this moment.
Yeah.
But I say that, man, because you never know who you're ministering to.
Yeah.
So when I lived in Fort Worth, I used to have to be
another story.
Here's another story.
Just trying to check my head.
No, but listen. So when I moved to Fort Worth, I was the lead. I had to be at the shop for 4 to open up the shop for 5. So a lot of mornings after I opened up, got the computer up and running, I'd go to this little closet and pray. So my supervisor called me in there about 2 or 3 times. He's like, hey man, sit down. He asked me, a question. What are you doing? I said, man, I go pray every morning. Look, this is my prayer in the morning. He's like, okay, cool. As long as you got your stuff taken care of, I'm like, I'm good. About a month later, he come back, come on, let me holler at you, let me talk to you. I said, what's up? Man, the numbers is up, just that, another, you still praying, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I know it's good, but I mean, you just never know, man. You don't know if the guy going to prayer and praying for his job, thanking for his job, asking God to bless his company so he can continue to feed his family, whatever. I wouldn't interfere with that, as long as it didn't interfere with his work.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Now, how would you feel?
Yeah. How would you feel?
He gonna read them all.
How to be praying about? No. If it has to be mutual.
Mhm.
If his 12 prayers a day doesn't affect my bottom line, productivity, my customer, 5. How many? I didn't know. I thought it was like 12. Like they always praying.
Yeah, it's 5.
Every time I walk in, I'm like, make it that way, right? I'm just joking, but let me turn around. But long as it's not, because I'm not trying to be insensitive or inhumane, but at the same time, if I'm running the business, I'm running the business.
Mhm.
And so that's why it's important to communicate when you're hiring
Right.
and all that up front.
Right.
Hey, because I know people, find it, it's offensive to ask what religion somebody is, but it's important to know because there are, there are some, believe it or not, Christians, there are some religions who take their religion seriously, take their faith seriously, and it's integrated into their lives. They don't fit it into their lives. It is their lives.
Mhm.
So, it's important to know.
It's important to know.
And on that note, before we move on to the next topic, so just not that long ago here in Houston, in Sugar Land, there was a new Hindu statue put up, and they had a whole ceremony. And bottom line is, no matter how you try to twist it, part of the ceremony was them invoking spirits and demons into that statue.
Mm.
Now, this is done in Sugar Land. We talk about assimilation. Does that religion or whatever have the right to do that in public? To have a statue put up, a ceremony done where they're invoking spirits into it? Is that something that should be allowed, especially in America, which says it's Christian, but is that something that is okay as far as for assimilation? Like should we allow any religion to do whatever they want to do in public?
Okay, so let me understand it. So it's in Sugar Land. It's not on that
statue.
It's not in their private property. It's just there for public to see.
So it's in their they have their temple and everything.
Temple,
it's
right.
on the temple grounds, but it's like 80 feet tall. So it's not like it ain't gonna be seen from far away, And not only that, they had a whole ceremony that includes invoking spirits, demons into the statue. So this is done outside.
Outside the temple?
This is done outside where everybody can see.
Oh,
It's still on their property.
Yeah, but it's still on their property.
It's still in their grounds. As far as I'm aware, it's still on their grounds. But I mean, anybody could walk outside, any child could walk by and see it, and be a part of it if they wanted to. Because the thing is this, you go to China, you can't do that as a Christian.
Well,
you get killed. You get killed with a T, killed. Or put in jail or something.
In jail. You can't do that down in
No,
China.
you can't do that in another country, certain other country. You can't do that in a Muslim country.
No, but see, here's the thing about America. In other countries, especially Islamic countries, America is known as the wicked way of the West because anything goes here.
Yeah.
So one thing America has what they call the constitutional rights.
Yeah.
And one of those constitutional rights is the right to free assembly, and also the right to practice your religion. So when they was incorporated, when they got their laws and bylaws, whoever incorporated them, what have you, before the Secretary of State stamped them and said they was a legal church or whatever, he could have denied that at that time. No, you're gonna be practicing Islam, but he didn't. He allowed it. So at this point, they're in the legal rights of this country because they're practicing their religion. So I mean, we may not like it, but once again, this is the country that we live in, man. Anything goes.
I think it's time for people to start educating themselves, like on the different religion. You know what I mean, and what it stands for.
I agree.
Because I with that one, it's kind of like, man, that's freaking demonic. They shouldn't be doing that. That's the way I feel, right? But like you said, they have their freedom of speech and
freedom of religion,
and their freedom of religion. So yeah, I feel like in that community, educate yourself, educate your children, because that's demonic. I'm sorry.
Well,
that is very demonic.
Well, who's that wrong? Them practicing what they say they believe, or those who gave them a business charter to do that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, those who gave them the business charter to do that.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they should have this big old statue. I mean, if you're going to make a statue, make it inside your temple to where you can see it.
And you keep all those spirits.
And keep all those spirits in there. That's the way I feel about
I agree
that.
with you.
And I'm sorry.
That's
stamped by Jennifer.
Woo, stamped by Jennifer.
If you're Hindu or whatever, I'm sorry. That's demonic.
Yes.
And I stand by that.
I'm gonna put I'm gonna start a new graphic and put a stamp by Jennifer. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry, I didn't know who that was. Okay. So to bring it to a close to bring the Bible into this, we know that when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, and they was in the wilderness wandering, and God gave them the 10 Commandments, and he also gave them the whole law, the 613 to complete. He said in there that if anybody, accepts him as their God, as their creator, and they become a part of you, and they have to follow these laws I gave you as well. Because people they misquote and say, the law was only given to the Jews. No, if you read the scripture, he says this to the Jews. He said, even the stranger in your camp. Because when they came out of Egypt, it was a bunch of Egyptians that was like, we good, Pharaoh, we go out with them. And so he had to say, Moses was like, hey, what's going on? Like, I mean, God, what you want me to do with all these, unnative born Jews? He say, the unnative born will be unto me as native born. And he reiterates that in the New Testament. Greek, Gentile, Jew, it don't matter. If you accept my son, you'll be saved. So whoever in the Old Testament wanted to be a part of Israel, they had to assimilate. You had to start keeping the Sabbath. You had to stop eating pork. You had to follow their laws and customs. It was no, okay, I understand, you was a Phoenician, so you could keep your customs, but you said, like, no. It was, if you're going to be my people, you're going to live by my laws and customs. There was no choice whether you want to assimilate or not. Because if we know that his own people didn't fully follow the laws, what happened to them? They was put in captivity because they didn't want to follow them. So when it comes to assimilation, the Bible is very clear. If you want to be his people, you're going to live the way by his word. Point blank, period. I don't care where you come from, what background you come from. You know, so that's what I have to say biblically on assimilation. Because if you want to be part of Israel, you had to accept their customs. You know. So before we close out on that topic, any other?
No, it's just I'm still like, whew, just to know that that's a temple in Sugar Land with a statue. I'm angry.
Yeah, and that's what we should have.
I'm so angry. It's like,
Righteous indignation. That's what we should have. That's what we should have. We're supposed to be.
I'm angry because
We're
it's like
supposed to be.
that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right. You're opening up a demonic portal for demons to roam. I mean, they hear, but that is like, no, that's not right.
But
That's
hey,
not right.
you know, we hide behind that, you know, free, whatever this, that. Man, listen. I know what my faith say, and I'm gonna stand on that. That's what I have to say on that. So as we move along, so we have like a couple topics left, and then we'll be done. So the next topic, and can either one of you two explain to me what black is?
A color? Look, I was told it's a color.
Okay.
Because when I was like, what? No, because I had a real good, a mentor a long time ago when I was like real young, and he said, Jennifer, never say that you're black. I said, but that's what he said, no. When you fill out those forms on those paper, don't say that you're black. He said, let me show you. So he took his shoes off. He said, what color is it? I said, black. He said, now put your skin up to it. He says, are you the same color? I said, no. He said, that is black. Go get me a white piece of toilet paper or something. So I got the white the tissue. He said, is white people white? I said, no. He said, so why do we call them white people? This is the color white. So I think black is just a color. I don't think it's us as a people.
Okay. Are you able to explain to me what black is?
I most definitely can.
Okay. Come on, Alvin.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, to be black is to be noble. If you notice, your judges have on black robes.
Black
Because
color.
black symbolizes authority.
Yeah, it's a color for authority.
Yes. There's a substance in everybody's DNA. Everybody's. But it's more dominant in African Americans and Africans. It's called melanin. And it gives your skin, it gives your pigmentation color. And it's dominant in people of African descent.
Why is that though?
Well, here's the thing. In the beginning, the Bible says darkness was upon the face of the earth. We know that darkness is black. When you look out into the universe at night, you see darkness.
Yeah.
You see blackness. You see melanin. So black, once again, is to be noble, is to be great. Oh, by the way, Aswad means black. To be black is to be noble. I'm gonna pass this mic.
I hear what you're saying, and you're
Because
right.
we've been miseducated. I think
Okay.
that everything associated with black is evil, and no.
I'm not saying that.
No,
but what
I'm
I'm
not saying
saying,
you.
but black is a color. I can't.
Black is also a substance. I just told you about melanin. It's in your genes. You can't get around that. Stand in the sun too long with that little brown skin you got, it's gonna get black.
So you explain when.
Oh Lord! Don't put me in the middle of this. Oh
After my
Lord! She gonna put me in the middle of this. No, but okay. So let me ask you this: can you act black?
No.
No.
Okay. You can't act black.
Can't act black.
So, what about people who were born to parents who are full of melanin, but the kids are not full of melanin? Are they still black?
Yes.
So is it the melanin, or is it the culture? Is it the DNA? What is black?
It all depends on how you address it. So you just said if two black people from African descent have children that turn out albinos, are they still black? Yes, they just lack their skin just lack pigmentation.
But you said black was melanin though.
Black is melanin. However, they come from black parents.
But if black is melanin, they don't have it. How are they black?
That's a good question. I'm back to my back.
Okay, and see, this is the things that people are scared to talk about, especially black people, quote unquote black people, because this is the thing. Think about this. We're out in the pasture, right?
Yeah.
And there's a pasture full of cows, right? You don't even have to say a pasture. You go right there on the airport and see some cows. We in Houston, like, so you don't see that in LA, right? You don't see that out there. The only cows you see is that In-N-Out Burger, huh? But so you see a pasture full of cows. You see some, white cows, some black and white cows, some brown and white cows, some brown cows. Would you say that they are different races of cows?
They're cows.
They're cows. So because we have different shades of humans, does it mean that we have different races of people, or are we all one race?
Like, well, one race, if you want to say the human race, I can go with that.
Okay. So
I like that. That's to go back to what I was saying. It's a color. So you see all different colors of cows. You just see different cows, different shades of cows.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's with us as human. We are all different shades. Just like in a coloring box, you have different shades. And that's the way I
But
look
we're
at it.
still all human.
But we all human. We still human.
okay. So all right. So how so when we talking about black, see, this is the thing. All these terms, America like to put terms on people. We like to categorize people.
Mhm.
We say Hispanic or Latino. What does that even mean? You have people of Spanish who speak Spanish who come from different origins, different backgrounds. They created different ways. What's the difference between black, Negro, and African American? You see what I'm saying? Does Negro come from the Spanish word meaning black, is in why that word is used? You see what I'm saying? We have all these things, and all it does is confuse people. All it does is confuse people. So again, I ask, so how do y'all feel about these terms that are used to describe them? It's just like Caucasian. Those are people that come from the Caucasus Mountain region of the world. So you have different shades of Caucasian.
You do?
Yes.
Wow. They all look the same to me. They don't look like us, how we come in different shades, because we can see, she's dark, lighter, she's lighter, dark, whatever, right? I can't say that about them. They all look the same color to me.
That's because you haven't seen them.
Yeah,
But they're different. Okay, for example,
Well, yeah.
I'll give you a good example. You go to India, you got light Indians,
Exactly.
dark Indians.
Right. But they still from the same.
You go to Brazil,
Mhm.
you got white looking, quote unquote, white looking Brazilians, and then you got black looking Brazilians. Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominican, it's the same thing. So they're the same people, but they're different shades. So go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. So in the Bible, I believe it was the 12th chapter, when the Bible says that Miriam, the sister of Moses, laughed at Moses, and God cursed her with the curse of leprosy. And she was so dirty, they set her outside the camp for 7 days till her skin turned back its original color. So if her skin turned, and God put a curse on her, turned her skin leprous, as white as snow, was she still Moses' sister? Would they still have the same bloodline? Was they still considered of the children of the bloodline of the children of Israel at that time? Because she had been turned white. That's what the Bible said. For 3 days, and set outside the camp.
Yeah, anybody with leprosy was set outside.
Anybody.
Get your tail
But
out.
another good point to make: she couldn't have already been of a pale complexion if it was turned white. So I'm just saying something about it. So I'm back to his original question: if two black parents of African descent give birth to a child, and that child lacks pigmentation, as in the Bible, is it still considered black?
And I'm asking these questions to provoke thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Because one thing in this Western world and culture is we've definitely been educated certain ways.
Bamboozled is the word. Yeah.
We're definitely in a box, in a bubble.
Yes.
We're definitely media controlled.
Yes.
And so we need to, when especially when, that's why I say this is race relations and the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
because the Bible has something to say about it.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
And so, me personally, my father's Nigerian. Well, we're not even Nigerian no more because we succeeded. We're Yoruba, and I love my Yoruba people, Yoruba culture. I love fufu. I love eba. I love the goosey soup. I love the red stew. I love the goat meat. I love all of that. But my culture and lineage and all that, it for the lack of a better term, it stops at the foot of the cross.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the foot of the cross, if you accept Christ, we're all covered by the blood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he sees.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it makes it clear in the New Testament, it doesn't matter Greek, Jew, Gentile, whatever. And so that's the reason why I'm having this panel is because we need to think how, if we say we believe, we have to think how the word wants us to think. And because how we think is how we deal with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How we think is how we deal with each other. So it's important to know, to understand each other so that we can know how to deal with each other. All right. So last topic, because
But you never asked that question though.
what question?
If it was two parents with melon, and they had the
Oh,
children.
I mean the DNA. You see, this is the thing. We cracked on Michael Jackson talking about them ain't his kids, DNA, this and that. I get it.
But those wasn't his
But
kids.
listen, hold on.
Okay.
We crack on him and say that, he was still black genetically, and I get that. I don't disagree with that. But then we have a presidential candidate with an Indian mother and an Irish father who just so happened to be raised in Jamaica. So he's ethnically Jamaican, but he's biologically Irish.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, but we still say she's black.
Mm-hmm.
So which way is it? We crack on Michael Jackson, but then we disregard genetics when it comes to Kamala Harris. You see what I'm saying? How we understand things is how we deal with each other and how we present things and how we view things. You see what I'm saying? So her father has said himself, I'm Irish. I was raised in Jamaica. I'm ethnically Jamaican, but I'm Irish. And they were also slave owners.
Mm-hmm.
His family, side of the family. They were slave owners. That's why they were there. You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about and the other thing is it's like this, like the basketball player Giannis. His parents are Nigerian, but he was born and raised in France. Matter of fact, he's called the Greek. I mean, in Greece, he's called the Greek freak.
Mm-hmm.
So is he not Nigerian or is he Greek or what? You see what I'm saying? Is we got to stop politicizing who we are and be who we are. And that's why it's important when we get to the foot of the cross, none of that matters.
That makes sense. A whole lot of sense.
I'm not telling people to throw away their culture.
Right.
I love culture. But culture is what separates us. Language and culture separates us, not necessarily quote unquote race.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with if somebody, we consider white, is raised in a black neighborhood, and somebody can say, oh, they acting black or they, this and that. And it's like, but they were raised in a culture. And then you have a black person who was raised, in the suburbs and around white folks that don't act that way. Then we say, oh, they're not black, they're Oreo.
Yeah, that's what we say. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So where does it stop? Where do we say enough is, forget all that extra stuff, and this person is either a person who's right for the job or a person that's righteous because they accepted Christ or a person that's, like, when do we say, hey, What's important is the character of this person. What did Martin Luther King say? I don't want to be judged by the color of my skin, but the what?
So let me ask this. So
And my guest that just walked in, hello. Feel free to jump in anytime you want to.
yeah,
I'm talking to you in the back with the hat.
So,
I'm
let-
talking
so
to you.
I hear what you're saying. Because I at one time I had a problem with, because like you said, a person, oh, if you have a white person or whatever, raised in the black community, it's because of the community. It's not that they're acting black, right?
Yeah,
And
that's what they know.
that's what they know. Because you can't act black
Mhm.
and you can't act white. You can't act those ways, right? So what so do you see, so what do you see any problem with a white person, especially females, they get their hair done like a black woman? You see anything wrong with that?
But who's to say that that's a black hairstyle? Because the Vikings
Right.
Vikings were braiding their hair, but braiding of the hair goes back forever. That doesn't belong to anybody.
Wait,
Like I'm saying, the braiding of the hair,
Who says it's as
you
black?
know,
let me.
That's the one of
because
the three-strand braids is one of the simplest hairstyles. It's so quick and easy. You could put your hair up and do what you need to do.
that's what they do.
You know, they
That's fine.
found Egyptian mummies hair braided.
Okay, but they used to say that back in slavery, they used to that was the way they mapped. They put the maps in their head, and that's how they knew how to run away and stuff like that. That's true. They braided their hair. So I'm saying, like, why is white people doing that? I feel like that's our style. I'm sorry.
So
That belongs
so-
to us.
So you want to claim a slave hairstyle is what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. Just saying. Basically, stay in your lane is what I'm saying.
But who gives anybody the right to own anything? Oh, go ahead. Because I know you want to jump in.
Well,
You want to jump in on this?
Well, here's the thing.
Ah, man.
You know, it's like I was saying earlier, man. You know, when you asked me, what does black mean? And I was telling you to be black is to be noble because it's in your DNA. It's in your melanin. And I said that to say this here. Colin Kaepernick was adopted by white parents when he was a child. Had never been in a black household, anything. So the mother was having problems with his hairstyle. So he just happened to go, now listen to me, watch
That's
this.
true. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a true story. He just happened to go somewhere and he saw a picture of Ivan Iverson.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man,
Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson, yeah. Oh, I want my hair done like that. Start wearing braids. So his mother had met a lady. The lady invited her over to her house to do his hair.
Mm-hmm.
When he got in there, had never eaten no soul food, anything. That man smelled that fried chicken, them red beans and rice,
Mm-hmm.
and lady
Hit
was
his soul, huh?
yeah, he did. So he walking around the kitchen. So the lady was like, and the black lady noticed it.
Mhm.
She's like, baby, you hungry? You want something to eat? The white mother said, no. He said, yeah. And he sat down, started eating. The white mother said, he never eats my food like that because it was written in his DNA.
I think I think it was written in the salt and the seasoning and the grease,
and the
the
stuff your
fat
mama.
back. Yeah, that's what I think it was written in.
And greens and things. Yeah.
Well, do you see how you attribute to that something being in our DNA?
Yeah.
Good food is good food.
Good food is good food.
Who cares about?
But why ain't it like the?
Because you go to South Louisiana, there's some white people that cook just as good, if not better, than black folks.
I do too, because I tried
Them
some
Cajun
rice
folks down there,
Yeah,
yes,
we've been
Lord.
trying some stuff and it's just ain't.
They gumbo, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Nah.
Nah.
We went to one.
I said, but why you do that now?
When me and Jennifer went to
Can't
one.
eat everybody gumbo.
Yeah, look, we went to a restaurant one time. Real quick, me and Jennifer was going to a restaurant and it said Cajun. What it said, Cajun seafood or something like that. And we walked in there, it was all white people in the back. We turned around and said, oh no, we out of here. Out of here. You know, so
you
I'm
can't
just
do that in
saying.
South Louisiana though.
No, you're not in South Louisiana. You might
South
come up with
Louisiana,
it.
that baby.
But this is a good topic. This is a good topic, man. But you correct, because the word says that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Knowledge.
So it's time that the time that we're living in, man, we got too much technology out here. We got too much information out here for us to be uninformed.
Yeah.
But in order for us to grow and go forward and do the right things in Christ, man, we got, like you said, we got to get outside that little box.
Yeah.
You know, and like Lady Jennifer said, and educate ourselves, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we should know about something about this religious belief, that religious belief, because we live in a multicultural country. Therefore, when we meet people, that's why I was able to see the guy going into prayer and say, hey, let me back up off of it.
Yeah.
He praying. You know, hey, good topic though, man.
So if that guy was, if the guy was on the phone and told this Judas that he had to take a phone call, you would have said something?
It depends on how long his phone call was.
Now, we in 7-Eleven, a Circle K, man. Come on and let me pay for my little gas, my little.
Well, that's like the
This
dollar
tea,
incident I
am
was
I-
talking about this morning.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like no dollar incident I was talking about this morning. So this morning I
Another
was,
story. No, just joking.
well,
Go
no,
ahead.
because you just to her point, you know, if he was on his phone or something. So this morning I went to a store just to grab something, and it's like 5 people in line. The lady at the cash register wanted a bag of chips. She was $1 short. So the lady, she said, I'm gonna run to my car and get the $1. So she got to go to the door, and I step up to the cash register. The lady said, oh no, cover it up. I'm not taking nothing else. And she come back with that $1. I said, you want to hold up? I said, tell you what, here, put that over here. Let me pay for that. Well, you pay for this first. I said, I'm not even tripping. You know, so it all depends, man. I'm not gonna hold you. Got all these people back here waiting for $1. Girl, stop. So if he's on the phone call, if it's emergency, his wife in labor, or he got to get, I'm gonna sit there and be patient to get on the phone. But if he just on there talking about, man, did you hear about the? I ain't gonna talk about this. Here you go.
Whoa, hey.
I ain't gonna do that. Your own grab. There you go.
We not mentioning
Yeah,
that
I ain't
name,
gonna go
that,
there.
but okay. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go to our last topic, and you're right, Camo. Good food is good food. All right, so
That must be camouflage.
yeah, camouflage from J Dab Church. Shout out,
Shout out to Camel.
Camo. So one thing a lot of people don't realize, to not go too deep, but just to tease this, because I do have a teaching coming up on this. In this series, race relations in the Bible. What people don't understand is that this world and its systems is run by an elite, by a secret elite.
Yes.
The richest people in the world, the people who actually run this, the systems of the world, you don't see them, you don't know who they are. And they believe in something called the 7 root race theory. That's where racism, where it does exist, is rooted in. It's rooted in the 7 root races. And if you don't know the 7 root races, I got a teaching on it. There are books on it. You got to understand. Even the term Negro comes from the 7 root races. It doesn't come from Negro meaning black, Negro, all of that stuff.
Right.
You have to study the 7 root races to understand what Margaret Sanger, why she started Planned Parenthood called eugenics, where she admitted to where she wanted to kill black babies and different things. It's based in a belief. It's based in a belief, in a worldview. If people really think that people looked at another group of people and say, oh, their skin color different than mine, let me hate them. Like, that's not how that works and how it happens. That's just not. If anything, we'll be like, what can we steal from them? Or they women look good, let's blunt, you know what I'm saying? But just to say, oh, their skin color different than mine, so let me hate them. That's not how they work. Now it works like that now because of years of human history and different things, yes. But it's all rooted in the 7 root race theory. Now, that teaching is in this series, this last teaching in this series. So the last thing we're gonna talk about, because it's getting late and I'm hungry too. We talk about food, but my mom says she got some food waiting on me too. Oof.
Mom on that?
How long you live, man?
I live far, man. I live far. Nah, but so the last topic we are gonna talk about is slavery. So I want to hear your thoughts on slavery.
You go first.
Well, I mean, you know, what do you mean? My thoughts on slavery? You know, I mean, naturally, you know, it was an unjust practice and culture here in America. But before the slaves, as we know them, as we're taught about them, in the public school system before slavery even came to America, it was in Africa. The Egyptian slaves. You know, it was all over the world. You know, so my thoughts on slavery, man, is that I don't think no man has the right to forcefully force labor on no man. Now, unless you're in the penitentiary, that's a whole different story. You know, that's forced labor, but it is what it is.
That's slavery.
It's
too.
slavery too.
Yeah,
You know,
slavery.
but hey, it's punishment for-
Institutionalized slavery.
Yeah, exactly. Punishment for your crime. But hey, man, and you know, a lot of people we talking about, and you know, I had to wake up. You know, after going through the judicial system, I was talking about, you know, the slave master this and white folks handle me. But no, after you, once again, do your research, do your studying, you'll find out, like I just said, you know, it was actually Africans who sold the first African slaves, you know, to the Caucasians that was coming over there, to the Europeans. You know, so hey, that's a touchy subject, man.
Mhm.
Oh,
Well,
very
I,
touchy.
I agree with what Oswald said. I mean, it happened. Was it right? No. You know, but slavery was in the Bible as well.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it wasn't the right thing. But it happened. You know, but we still have slavery today.
Yeah.
It's just they don't call it slavery.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you just talked about the penitentiary. That is a form of
It
slavery.
is, that's what it is.
You know, and that and when you're working, especially when you work for a company that that doesn't pay you well
Mhm.
and doesn't value you,
Yes.
that's a form of slavery.
Yeah.
That's a form of slavery too.
Mhm.
So it's still here.
Mhm.
You know, it's just they don't call it slavery anymore. They call it something else.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can I make a good point?
Go ahead.
So a guy put it to me like this, man, years ago. He said that's back to Lady Jennifer's point. He said slavery is so prevalent today, man, you can see it if you look for it.
Mhm.
He said the courthouses is the slave docks.
Mm.
The lawyers and judges who negotiate your time are the slave masters trying to sell them slaves. He
Wow.
said the penitentiaries are the plantations.
Drop the mic. That was deep. Woo!
I'm just saying.
Hey,
That's something to
hey,
think about.
I gotta give you that one.
Give me that one. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, man.
That was good. That's something to look at.
That's
That's
deep.
deep. Open your eyes, like, woo.
Look at it.
Yes.
This is why you don't put husband and wife on the same panel.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
One more, babe.
Boop, boop.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's important to deal with these topics when it comes to how it relates to the Bible, our faith,
Mm-hmm.
how we view each other. The truth is that slavery, like you say, has been around a long time. But there's a difference between if you study slaves in the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, there were rules and regulations to how to treat your slaves in the Bible.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were treated very well.
Mm.
The slaves in the Bible they were kind of like, I guess, indentured servitudes and things of that nature. But the Bible was that's because I see people use all the time, you know, slaves in the Bible. That's why I don't like the Bible. It's like, have you studied what the Bible says about how you're supposed to treat your slave?
Mhm.
You know,
Wow.
there's a difference between being like a servant, an indentured servant,
Yes.
and then you being captive of somebody because they conquered you. There was different.
Mhm.
The slaves and the early slaves in the early Bible were people who, like you say, were criminals or they owed something and they couldn't pay it, and so they became an indentured servitude. But the Bible was very clear that you still treated them fairly in a certain way.
Yeah.
It wasn't like what we know of
That's
the
right.
slavery
Mhm.
today. That's number one. Number two, like you said, the whole world, historically, Africans enslaved Africans, Native Americans enslaved Native Americans. The people were initially put in this, were captured and forced into slavery were people who were weaker and susceptible to being put in slavery.
Mm.
Race didn't come into slavery until way later, till recent times.
Yeah.
If the truth be told, when Europeans came to the coast of Africa in the 1700s, they went there, and like you say, it was other Africans that brought them slaves.
Yeah.
Why? because Europeans couldn't really be on the continent of Africa. The diseases and stuff, they were more likely to die than to get slaves. And the Africans helped them because their neighbors were weak. So I'm gonna,
Grade this camp.
Grade that camp.
exactly, and give
Yeah.
them to the Europe. It was slavery was far less about race most years than what we give it credit for. It was far less about race and far more about who's vulnerable.
Mhm.
And let's be honest, there were black slave owners in America.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, evidently the first documented one was a black man, an African that was brought over here and won a court case to keep his slave.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this not to erect, because slavery happened, Jim Crow happened. There were some racial things that definitely happened, and they were terrible. They were abhorrent, and I hate that they happened. But this narrative that I see a lot today is that black people should hate white people.
Yeah.
It's like, that's foolish. Who do you think helped abolish slavery? Rich old white people. The Europeans were the last people to hold on to slavery, and slavery's still going on today, like East Africa and places like that. But the Middle Eastern people and the East Africans held on to slavery way longer than any American, European, anybody did. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like these narratives of we need to hate white people is just stupid. Because it wasn't truly always about race. Race was never truly the reason behind slavery. There are so many things that about slavery, so many narratives that need to be destroyed so that people can stop hating each other and people can stop hating the Bible. Okay. So the Spaniards, different people came over here with the Bible and did certain things. That doesn't make the Bible not true. It makes them misusing the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And just like when they, they came over and conquered America, well, that's the unfortunate history of the world. People went to different places and conquered different places. Who's mad at Alexander the Great? Who's mad at Genghis Khan? But the people came over here and settled America. Yeah, they were ruthless in how they did, but unfortunately, they weren't doing anything that people throughout history hadn't done. So when we say give the land back to the Native Americans, which group? Because they conquered each other and took each other's lands too. So what I'm saying is we need to pump our brakes on this recency bias that we have of recent history and understand the whole totalness of history to understand why people thought, lived, and acted the way they acted throughout history. Everybody didn't think the way we think today. Everybody didn't have the same technology or different things. Different people lived in different eras of history and lived different ways. People in Abraham's day didn't live the same as in Moses' day. Didn't live the same as in Jeremiah's day. Yeshua, Jesus, his day wasn't the same as Moses' day. You got different eras in history. And even the Egyptians weren't black. They were very fair-skinned. They weren't, but we want to say, Egypt was black. And Egyptians weren't. Go look up the true history of Cleopatra and all these people. They weren't fully black. They were Mediterranean. Well, why do we feel so, like, why do we hold on to our blackness so hard? What does that truly do for us? You see what I'm saying? The key thing is to be good people, be good husbands, good fathers, good wives, and if we're believers, to serve God and follow Jesus. That should be the top goal. I understand we have different cultures and different things. I get that. But this is my problem. Then I'm done. I'll let y'all talk and we'll be done. My problem is this. This is why I'm saying this. It's because I saw when a movie came out, a Marvel movie about a superhero that was a black man, an African man, that black people took so much pride in a superhero movie. But around that same time, there was a little school in Nigeria where these girls were kidnapped and nobody cared. Nobody cared. But when a superhero come out, everybody would put their arms across their chest and jump up and down. Stop it. That's my problem. We take pride in certain things that do nothing for us and bring us nothing. It doesn't fulfill anything. That's my problem. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your people where you come from. But what I'm saying is we got to get out of the narrative of hating certain groups of people or thinking certain group of people are the devil or they're evil. No. We have to understand history. Because the way we understand history and we understand people, especially through the lens of the Bible, is how we treat them. And look where it's gotten our society. Look where it's gotten our society to where a police officer can justly defend himself against an armed black person and it's automatically deemed racist. That's where we are. I'm not saying that everything police does is justified, but there are cases where they are justified. But we can't see that anymore because anytime a black person is killed, what about the white people that are killed? White people are killed by the cops way more than black people. But it doesn't fit a narrative to divide and destroy us. That is their goal, to divide us by race and conquer us. And we're falling right into their hands. I'm done.
So, I mean, but I see. Okay, I got it. The narrative. The narrative.
Point being made. No, point being made. Everything you color ain't your kind. And
all my skin folk ain't my kin folk.
yes. And that being said, because it's election time, I got to say this here. Don't cast your ballot or your vote because you're assuming somebody of your color is your kind. Look and see what their political agenda is. Research their history. See if they really got your best interest at heart before you make that decision. Because once you make that vote, it's a done deal. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't have anything to say on the race and what you just said. It was all good, you know.
Yeah, only that 5. That's why I want to say too much. That's 5 there.
Listen, so this biblical series I'm about to do is going to be awesome. I'm telling y'all, we're going to start off talking about the Table of Nations, where everybody, the 3 sons of Noah and their offspring, where they went, who they became. We're going to explain that so we can clear that up. Another teaching we're going to do is the 12 tribes, where they went to, what happened with them, who they became, how did they turn out, up until the point to where we can, stop tracking them. Spoiler alert, Tribe of Dan, they gutted. You want to follow that way. A third one we're going to do is talk about what's going on with Israel and Palestine, where that comes from, because that's important. Because people don't know how to feel. Do I support Israel? Do I support Palestine, Hamas? But there's biblical precedents of how we should view this. But we're not. People aren't reading their Bible, and they're listening to what the news is saying. All right. So that's another teaching. And a last teaching is going to be the root races, the 7 root races. What the people who run this world believe. There's a reason why Hitler said he wanted the blonde hair, blue eyes to come back. Do you really understand what he meant by that? Do you know the people who were his handlers? Because Hitler wasn't the top of the food chain, nowhere near. He was just another pawn in the game too, and people need to realize this. People need to understand theosophy and what all these groups and all these thoughts that shaped people like Hitler, like Walt Disney, like Madame Blavatsky, like Aleister Crowley, who Jay-Z does a lot of his teachings in his music and stuff. You need to understand these people. You need to understand how Aleister Crowley influenced Jack Parsons, who was Jet Propulsion Lab, and also Jack Parsons' roommate, who was oh my gosh,
Jack Parsons.
Jack Parsons was one of the Jet Propulsion at NASA, one of the rocket scientists, one of the most famous rocket scientists. He was a follower of Aleister Crowley. And his roommate, L. Ron Hubbard. Does that ring a bell? L. Ron Hubbard was a follower of Aleister Crowley as well. Why is that important to know? L. Ron Hubbard is the founder of Scientology. This is why you gotta understand history and who people connected to and where they come from, what they think. Scientology comes out of Aleister Crowley. And Theosophy, the Golden Dawn, all these organizations, secret societies that shaped so much of American culture and politics and history in Hollywood. We don't understand these things. And we allow these people who control our what we think about race, the history of slavery, and all these things. We allow them to make them think that black people, when you think of a single parent home, a broken home, you think of black folks. But pre-civil rights movement, less than 4% of black homes were single parent homes. What changed? Think about this stuff. There were black millionaires and billionaires. There were presidents before George Washington. The first two or three of whom were black men.
They're just not recorded.
Oh, it's recorded.
I mean, like
It's not taught.
It's not taught as
Because they
like,
want to control the narrative.
Yeah.
And if you think I'm crazy, Prince said it himself in the interview. Prince said, the single Prince, he said, when I found out there were presidents before George Washington, the first man was black, John Henson, I want to slap somebody. But get to slapping because there's a lot.
When I found out, remember I told you when I was excited, I said, "Ooh, there was a black Wall Street
In
black,
Tulsa.
yeah, and not only a black Wall Street, but blacks had oil." When I found that out, I was like, "Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing." That's things that they don't teach us in school, so you do have to do your own research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to realize it's not about race to the people
Mhm.
at the top. Either you're part of their secret society, you're part of their brotherhood or sisterhood, or you're not. They don't care about race. We the ones down here who care about race and fighting over race. Either you part of their agenda or you not. Either you down with their agenda or you not. We're the ones who fight over race. They don't care about race at the top.
They don't. I feel like they don't. They have some type of. They prevent us from moving forward though. They have that. Like when I read about the black oil company, right? That first had oil and had all these people, black people working for him. They care about how we make our money. I mean, because they have so much money to where they can shut us down. I do believe that. So they do care about them. I think they do care about the race and the color because I do believe that they want to keep us oppressed.
So what about those who are of our color who is on the same level as them though? Why aren't they keeping them down?
Like, okay, so when you talk about the people up there, are you talking about like that?
Why are you whispering?
I don't know if I can say that.
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay. Are you
So
talking about
you gotta understand that these Rockefeller Rothschilds, they're Jewish.
okay.
Thank you. They're Jewish.
Mhm. I didn't know they were Jews.
Exactly. You think they're quote unquote white?
Yes.
They're Jewish. And that's what I'm saying. We got to understand how they work and operate. It's not by race. It's either you're part of their agenda or you're not. They're Jewish.
Mm.
So exactly. And so that's what we got to, that's why I'm doing this teaching series, is to clean up so much of the poison and confusion that's been taught by these public fool systems and by the media and by all these people. Because who do you think control and run the media? It's the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they're going to give you the narratives they want you to give.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why the Bible says, I don't care if you're Jew, Gentile, whatever. Either you're going to follow me and my word or you're not.
And let me say this right quick since we're on this. Like I was saying earlier, everything your color ain't your kind. You know, you got to do your research and just find out, man, who you're supporting. You know, like I was saying about the presidency, you know, the elections now. You know, don't just vote for somebody because they look like you. See what their agenda is. Here's the point in play. Michael Jordan, all y'all buying them J's,
He could care less about you.
he can care less about you because guess what? All that money he charging y'all for them J's, right now, Michael Jordan owns 65% of prison units that's holding your son or your brother, your father.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all help him fund them by buying them J's. But hey, once again, my Bible says that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Yes, sir.
So do your research, man, and go get them J's back.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, the Rockefellers and them, they, even though we're voting, they are the ones that
Oh, yeah.
say
Who gonna get in there?
who's gonna get in there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's
who's
powers
gonna
to
get-
be.
that's
Well,
the
our
powers
presidents
to be.
are selected and not elected.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, all you got, and if you don't believe me, just look up the Electoral College, and that'll show you who picks presidents. And they call our votes the popular vote on purpose to mock us. Who's popular? Who y'all care? Who
yes.
we gonna put in? Who we want to put in?
Mhm.
Mhm.
The only person I can think of that who got in, who wasn't supposed to get in, was Trump. And he did. That's why they come at them so hard, because he ain't played by their game.
Out of games.
And so I'm not saying he's a perfect guy or whatever. What I'm just saying is, that why I think there's been assassination attempts on his life.
Mhm.
And it's funny that people call me conspiracy theory. Oh, you believe this, that? But then here go the Trump stuff, and everybody turned to conspiracy theories. Oh, it was staged and fake. Okay,
But
like
is it true that the people that were elected, when that was in office, some type of way, they are all connected,
they're all related.
related to the Rockefellers, somewhere down in the genes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, just look. I could go as far as to not just the pharaohs of Egypt until it was usurped, to Greek, to Rome, to all these countries, organizations, these civilizations, these superpowers. They're all bloodlines.
Mhm.
The presidents of the United States, they're all bloodlines.
Mhm.
It's all bloodlines.
Yeah.
They don't care about race. They care about keeping their bloodline pure.
Here.
And that way they stay in power. And I can say this, then we're gonna be done. Look up the history of who's become popes. That's bloodline as well. Up until the Jesuits have taken over the Catholic Church. They infiltrated the Catholic Church and they've taken over. But all the popes were all bloodline as well. I mean, why do you think what happened with Princess Diana? Just look at what was going on with her and what bloodline she was about to bring. And then, go look up to Jack the Ripper. I talked about that murders, and all the women who were murdered had knowledge of, one of the princesses or whatever who was carrying the bloodline that they didn't want carrying. Go look it up. I can show it to you. You gotta understand, people. We're the ones down here fighting about race. They don't care about it. Bottom line, you better get some salvation.
Nice.
You better get some salvation. And on that note, we're gonna close out. Any final words from my distinguished panel?
This was good.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
All right, so y'all stay tuned. I hope and pray that y'all come out to the teaching series in person. I promise you'll have a good time. You'll be able to ask questions. I have a PowerPoint so you can see things. But once again, Pastor Eugene and his family, sorry I wasn't able to make it. I'm grateful to Oswald and Lady Jennifer for supporting me from day one. Pastor Eugene supported me from day one, and those who are far who have to support me, through online or different things. Please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Trying to get 50 subscribers so I can go live from my phone instead of having to set up that laptop. All right. Nothing else. Love y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Turn this live.